it's not a game. I want to put it out to whether it's Governor Phil Murphy or the rest of the people that who want to game this. It's not a joke. This is serious business, and they need to stop, or we won't prosecute them through the Department of Justice. What Phil Murphy says, when he goes out there and does this, plays this game, if the governor can do it, he sends a message to the whole world, they can do it too. Again, putting our officers at grave risk. It has to stop, or they will be prosecuted. I'm working very closely with the Department of Justice to hold people accountable. This stuff ends today.
According to the translation, it shows you telling people that if ICE attempts to question them, they are not obliged to answer those questions.
What's up, Black Coffee Crew? Today, we're diving even deeper into the media circus surrounding immigration and deportations. And believe me, there's a lot to unpack. Our headline says it all. New CNN MSNBC meltdown moments of getting mad at Donald Trump and slow deportations. We're not just scratching the surface here. We're exposing the hypocrisy, the agendas, and the downright absurdity of what we're seeing from the left.
And I'm basing this on the translation that he retweeted here. And this is guidance that we have heard from many immigration advocates. But Musk says that you are, quote, breaking the law literally outright. Do you want to respond to that?
In the clip, it was an interview that I gave to a reporter. I'm not in that room, actually, that they pan out to. That is an edited video. And in the interview, I was asked, well, what I say to Somalis who are undocumented or who their documentations might have lapsed. And it is important for people to exercise their Fifth Amendment right to remain silent unless they feel confident that they have the legal protections that they need.
There are 1.3 to 1.6 million illegal immigrants in this country today who have already received deportation orders from a court. You can start there. There's another population, as Mark said, that have either committed violent crimes in the United States or committed violent crimes where they came from. You can also do that.
Trump put out this number of we're going to do mass deportations and get millions of people, and they're finding that that's actually not feasible. That's not practical, either with the funding or with the personnel in the federal government right now. That's also not practical or feasible at Guantanamo, that, as I understand, can only house a few hundred people right now. And so they're going to have to try and do these makeshift facilities. But even that is not going to be enough if 30,000 people is the number that you're trying to get there.
They told Fox News they were planning to net triple-digit arrests of gang members as a result of all these very impressive rates. They ended up arresting exactly one person who they claimed was a gang member. Also, that first woman in the parking lot holding her coffee cup and cussing them out, they described her as an activist. I don't know, maybe she is. Looked to me like a super annoyed neighbor.
Now, let's start with the obvious. You've probably noticed the narrative gymnastics that CNN and MSNBC are doing. They were up in arms about family separations at the border during the Trump administration. They were painting him as some kind of monster. Now they are in a collective meltdown about the fact that deportations are not happening fast enough. It's a complete 180, and it's so obvious it's insulting to our intelligence. This constant state of outrage is not about principle. It's about politics. It's about trying to find anything to attack Trump with, even if it means contradicting themselves. Let's dig into what's really going on. We're seeing reports that Trump is allegedly angry about the slow pace of deportations. I say good! He's a president who promised action, and it's refreshing to see him hold people accountable for not delivering. But here's the kicker. The same outlets that were screaming about Trump's immigration policies are now seemingly upset that deportations aren't happening fast enough. How is this not the height of hypocrisy? It is as if the media wants a chaotic situation at the border that allows them to have something to complain about. This brings us to the issue of the left actively advising illegal immigrants to avoid ICE. We saw Congresswoman Omar correctly point out that undocumented immigrants have a right to remain silent, invoking the Fifth Amendment. This is absolutely correct. However, Elon Musk rightly called her out for breaking the law because it's illegal to help and aid criminals and tamper with the practices of ICE. The hypocrisy is that the left wants to simultaneously defend individual rights while undermining law enforcement. They want to create chaos and then point the finger at those trying to bring order. It is illegal to help or aid criminals. This isn't a game, and as we can see, there's some serious issues here.
Under the previous administration, we would have inquiries. We would request information. We would want cabinet secretaries and assistant secretaries and deputy secretaries to come before committee. We would send letter after letter after letter and get no response. The Biden administration operated literally in the shadows. They would not tell you anything that was going on. At least Donald Trump puts it out in the litany of orders that come out that day. Here's what we're doing today. We're going into the Department of Justice. We are taking these attorneys and they are under supervisory review, or however they choose to phrase it.
Talking about USAID, it's a number one target for Donald Trump, for Elon Musk. Can we talk about where this war on USAID even came from?
It's crazy. So they didn't talk about this during the campaign. You didn't hear a word about
Not one.
USAID. I read about this just a couple days ago. In December, Joe Rogan has a guest on who's like a crazy right-winger.
I want to be clear. I've talked to a number of your colleagues in the last couple of days. I want to be clear that elections have consequences, and you could disagree with the policy prescriptives and goals of a particular administration, but your responsibilities as a member of Congress are outlined in the United States Constitution in Article 1. Your responsibility to appropriate money and distribute it is a constitutional responsibility. I'm not sure where the fuzziness is around here. Elon Musk and his people have no business in the systems of our government.
Let's talk numbers, because the facts don't lie. The source material shows that there are approximately 1.3 to 1.6 million people in this country who have already received deportation orders. Let's be clear, these aren't just people who overstayed their visas. These are people who have gone through the legal process and have been ordered to leave the country. Then we have another population of people who have either committed violent crimes in the US or committed violent crimes in their country of origin. On top of all of that, we have the 10 to 11 million that were allowed into the country under the Biden administration. The current deportation rate is around 1,000 per day. Do the math, people. Even if they focused only on the 1.3 to 1.6 million with orders, it would take years to deport them all at this pace. Trump's stated goal of mass deportations to get rid of millions isn't feasible with the current funding, personnel, and infrastructure. The source indicates that existing facilities can only house a few hundred people, and that even makeshift facilities will not be enough if we are talking about 30,000 people. And why is it so hard to deport people who have been ordered to leave? Because we have sanctuary cities and activist groups that are actively interfering with ICE's work. They are sheltering and protecting those who have been ordered to leave. They are putting our communities at risk. Then we have Rachel Maddow on MSNBC making fun of ICE agents who are going after gang members. She mocks the process and makes it look like a joke. It's disgraceful. It shows a complete lack of respect for law enforcement and our communities. It's as if they are rooting for the chaos. This brings me to the operating style of the Biden administration. Under the previous administration, there were inquiries and requests for information. Now, they are operating in the shadows. They wouldn't tell you anything. We have more and more people coming out saying that it was difficult to work with the Biden administration because nobody knew what was going on. A good piece of evidence is when the Secretary of Defense was operating in a hospital for 2 weeks and Biden had no idea. The Biden administration was not doing as much work as Trump was. This lack of transparency and accountability is a major problem.
That's right. Elon Musk is unelected. Unaccountable. He's a greedy billionaire, self-interested with foreign entanglements, and he should not be accessing the American people's private information and data. You know, he's got his grubby hands on Mima and Granddad's Social Security information. No private citizen should be accessing Social Security information, Medicare payments, your tax refund. And that's why, you know, we have to match their energy.
It's about the way this is being done. It's not, I think almost anyone can agree, that cut the wasteful spending. Please, you know, make the government run more efficiently. But it's about the way in which it's being done. And just going back to kind of where we started here, the way it's being done by Elon Musk, by these very young people, who maybe aren't moving at the pace that I think some people are like, please just slow down for a second and don't scare people. I think people are frightened. Some people are frightened.
Now, let's talk about the left's obsession with blaming Elon Musk. They claim Musk is unelected, unaccountable, greedy, and self-interested with foreign entanglements. They are saying that he's accessing private data, including Social Security. Information. It's a complete misrepresentation. It's been verified by Trump that he does not have access to those systems. They are simply trying to divert attention away from their own failures. They're not taking accountability for their own actions. This is a very common theme from the left. Instead of addressing the real problems, they're trying to create a boogeyman to blame. All Trump wants is to get rid of illegal immigrants inside of those systems. The left keeps talking about the pace of this administration. They claim that they are frightened by the pace and speed of how things are happening. That's because they have been used to politicians doing things at the very end of their term. People are scared because they're being misled by the Democratic Party and the left-leaning media. They're not used to a president trying to get things done so quickly, and this is why people are outraged. However, we are saving money.
Sure, and they're worried because they're going to have to go back to work. These people
I'm not talking but I'm not talking about the employees. I'm talking about Americans who rely on some of this funding, or the farmers, like I was just talking with an expert on USAID, who farm the wheat that goes, around the globe. People like that.
Yes, ma'am, and USAID has been a complete ripoff of the American taxpayer. Shut it down and regroup the system so that if the farmers are doing legitimate work, then they should get legitimate pay. But American taxpayers should not be in charge of policing or feeding the world. We need to take care of our own first. And the money that we send to USAID, remember this, every dollar is borrowed. Every dollar is borrowed that we are giving away. That model does not work. It is a recipe for destruction. And the people that promote these things, these far left organizations, depleting our funds, that's where that is the end result right there. And you will see the complete destruction of our system.
With a full-on crisis in our democracy, as federal workers are literally locked out of their offices while operatives working for a private citizen essentially take over our government. Their tactics include turning off our federal websites, deleting government-funded research that you, the taxpayer, paid for to impose speech codes, bullying news organizations by demanding interview transcripts, implementing an FBI purge.
Let's talk about the spending, because this is a huge issue that the media does not want to talk about. The Democrats and the media are upset about the government getting audited and spending reviewed line by line. They are claiming that Trump's executive order violates the Constitution and that Musk has conflicts of interest. They even accuse Musk of copying down Social Security numbers to make money. It's fear-mongering, and they're upset because no one has questioned their spending before. They don't want anyone looking at where the money is going, and they don't want to be held accountable. The source material says that common sense is illegal in Washington, D.C. This is why Musk is putting together a crackerjack team to go through the spending line by line. They are upset about the spending being reviewed because it exposes their corruption. Let's dig deeper into the USAID issue. The source material indicates that there is a war on USAID and that this is a top priority for Trump and Musk. The left is not taking accountability for the ridiculous numbers from USAID. They are trying to blame Joe Rogan and saying it's all because of him. They claim that Musk and his people have no business in the systems of our government. The left needs to understand that elections have consequences and that the responsibility to appropriate money and distribute it is a constitutional one. The left claims that Musk should not be accessing the American people's private data. However, we have seen that it is actually quite the opposite, and that he is not allowed to go into those systems. We are starting to see more and more people coming out and saying that it was difficult to work with the Biden administration.
Line by line. Now let me ask you something, Mr. President. How are you going to review the spending without reviewing the spending? How are you going to audit the spending by an agency without auditing the agency? That's what I mean when I say common sense is illegal in Washington, D.C. That's what Mr. Musk is doing. He's put together a crackerjack team, and they're going through everybody's spending line by line, item by item. And my Democratic colleagues are very, very, very upset. And they've been very eloquent. They've talked about the process, and President Trump's executive order supposedly violates the Constitution. And they've accused Mr. Musk of having conflicts of interest. And so I've heard people say he's sitting over there with a notepad, copying down everybody's social security number, and he's going to go use it to make money. I mean, people in this town, not just my Democratic colleagues, they're really upset. They've never said anybody question their spending.
The left, the media, and the Democrats are not taking responsibility for their actions. They are blaming everything on Elon Musk for the issues that are happening internally within the government. We have not even had an audit of the Pentagon yet. Things are going to get even more crazy when we do. We are still uncovering things about USAID. It has been verified that Musk is not allowed in those systems. We also need to remember that every dollar that we give away is borrowed. This model does not work, and the people who promote this are leading to the complete destruction of our system. There are good things happening with USAID, but a lot of the spending is so bad that the content creator can't even talk about it on YouTube. Some Christian organizations were taking money from USAID. So what's next? The source material suggests that things will get super serious when the first politician or member of a local government gets arrested for helping an illegal immigrant. It is indicated that this has never happened in our modern era. This is why things are scary for people who are being misled. The source material does not have a specific number for what Trump wants done regarding ICE. However, it indicates that he wants more deportations at a faster pace. Here's the bottom line. We need to get our house in order. We need to prioritize the safety and security of American citizens. We need to hold our elected officials accountable, and we need to call out the hypocrisy whenever we see it. Trump is trying to get the job done, and I, for one, support that. It's time for the left to face the facts. Their policies are failing us. It's not about being on one side or the other. It's about common sense, truth, and accountability. But what do you guys think? Let's get the conversation going. Drop your comments below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more unfiltered takes. We need to stand together and take our country back. Joe!